Hello, nice to meet with you again. This is Mercy with All Mercy Psychiatry and Integrative Care. How are you doing? I hope all of you are faring well, and thank you again for being here with me. I promised the last video I was going to talk about mental health, just throw a little bit more light into what mental health is. To put it in the simplest terms that I can possibly say is that mental health or mental illness is anything that impacts your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, and your behavior. So anything that impacts those areas will lead to a mental health crisis or mental illness or a mental disorder. So when these things come about, they can be caused by stress or by genetics. But if it does impact your way of thinking, if it does changes your behavior, if it does changes the way you feel emotionally, then there's a likelihood of a mental health disorder. In modern clinical psychiatry today, the main goal and the main education issue is to prevent these disorders. Some people are like, what? Can you prevent it? Yes, you can. Even when it is genetics, there are some prognostic assessments that can be done to prevent you going into that crisis. Yes, again, they can be prevented, they can be improved, and they can be treated. Most of the time in our society today, we are thinking once diagnosed with a mental health issue, it becomes something that can never be treated, something that you'll be on medication forever, or something that stays with you forever. Each time people look at you, they are not seeing you, but they are seeing a mental health issue. No, that is not the case. It can be improved, it can be prevented, and it can be treated. We use psychometric interviews in specialized clinics by specialized individuals to determine those who are at high risk for mental health illnesses. We do assess for cognitive functionality in all other areas. We also do assess for help-seeking behavior to detect, do you need help at this time or do you not need help? Or is there a possibility that you can need help later so that we start some mental health care before we get to that state? Remember, it is about strengthening your mind and taking time to prevent mental stress. I know I said we're going to talk about coping skills, but in my practice, most of the time, I realize that it is easier to talk about coping skills once you recognize what is the trigger in the first place. What leads you to that state in the first place? What happens that creates that imbalance inside your feelings, your thoughts, your behavior? What is the trigger? What happens that push that state to become imbalanced that now you start needing help? Once we can find that trigger, then it is so easier to find coping skills that will work for that person. And one coping skill may work for one individual with the same diagnosis and may not work for another individual with the same diagnosis. So these are very, very individualistic period of care or procedures or processes of care when we talk about coping skills. So we'll talk about that later. The World Health Organization defines quality of life in terms of good health, happiness, and subjective fulfillment to explain the state of mental health for many people. So once you think you have a good quality of life, and once you think you're very fulfilled in your life, and once you think you are healthy, your thoughts right, your feelings right, your cognition right, it can all influence your behavior. And now when a specialized person in that field do their interview and their assessment, then they can determine how high of a risk are you or how low of a risk are you in mental health or in mental health status. It is alarming the number of people in the US alone who are being treated or who are being diagnosed with mental health issues. So it's something that we should all be mindful of. We should all be mindful of. And today's topic is more about how to prevent it. We all know how they say good exercise, good sleep, good nutrition will balance your state of mind, right? It's not just your physical health, the state of mind as well. That goes alongside mental health. Good sleep, good nutrition, good ways of living, exercise, lifestyle also influences your mental health. It is very important. We call it a psychiatry lifestyle or lifestyle psychiatry, that you should practice those things. And of course, you want to culminate them with good assessment, good mental health assessment to see if you're at high risk or not. That way, we can prevent mental health. I hope this is not much for today. Let's catch up on the next video. We'll dive into coping skills and talk about different mental health disorders. When we say mental health, it is just an umbrella covering a lot of different things. We start from mood disorders like depression and anxiety to way other psychotic disorders like bipolar, schizophrenia. We'll talk about more, and we'll do a lot of teaching on those topics on next videos. Thank you all for spending this 6 minutes with me, and I love to see you again. It's been Mercy with all mercy. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.